Our next award is the Genome BC Scientific Excellence Award. This award is supported by Genome BC, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kauser Samli, Vice Chair of the Board of Genome BC, who will present the award.
Thank you, Wendy. British Columbia, we have a lot to be proud of, not least of which is the outstanding slate of recipients that we are recognizing tonight. For those of you who may not know or be familiar with Genome British Columbia, we are a not-for-profit organization that facilitates world-class genomics research and innovation to support a globally competitive life sciences ecosystem and sector, delivering sustainable benefits to BC, Canada, and beyond. We are dedicated to improving the lives of British Columbians by advancing healthcare, addressing environmental and national resource challenges. Genome BC has generated over $1.3 billion of investment into our province. Our early investments have benefited some of Canada's largest life sciences companies, and we are increasingly focused on advancing the translation and commercialization of genomics and related technologies. Our unique industry innovation program, for example, helps BC-based companies develop, scale, and get to market their innovative life sciences technologies, filling a key funding gap and providing a path to success. Genome BC is also dedicated to the integration of genomics into society and fostering an understanding and appreciation of the life sciences among policymakers, educators, students, and the public. We are incredibly proud of our role in building BC's life sciences sector and thrilled to see the achievements of our partners. Therefore, we are also equally as delighted to recognize local excellence here in British Columbia. As with this award, which honors a British Columbian who has received significant national or international recognition in the field of genomics, including bioinformatics and systems biology. They have displayed a commitment to collaborative and interdisciplinary research and have multiple successful and key efforts utilizing original techniques or research methods in relevant fields. This year's winner of the Genome BC Scientific Excellence Award is Dr. Laura Arbour. Dr. Laura Arbour is a professor in the Department of Medical Genetics at the University of British Columbia and an affiliate professor in the Division of Medical Sciences at the University of Victoria. Trained as both a pediatrician and a clinical geneticist, she has been addressing the genetic determinants of health with Indigenous populations for more than 2 decades. Through her UBC Community Genetics Research Program, she has focused on rare single-gene disorders and complex conditions in partnership with the First Nations of BC and Inuit of Nunavut. Her clinical practice in Victoria, BC, and various outreach sites across BC involve rare genetic disease diagnosis with a focus on cardiogenetics. Her partnership in research on long QT syndrome with a First Nations community of Northern BC led to the concept and initiation of the BC Inherited Arrhythmia Program for all British Columbians with inherited arrhythmias, ongoing since 2013. Currently, she is the project lead with co-leads Dr. Wasserman and Dr. Nadine Caron for the Genome BC, Genome Canada, CIHR-funded large-scale applied research project, Silent Genomes, addressing inequity in genomic diagnosis for Indigenous patients of Canada. Now, without further ado, let's enjoy a video highlighting the work of Dr. Arbour.
Community genetics is really the big picture of integrating what we know of genetics and genomics into healthcare, and that's including epidemiology, technology, functional studies, what the genes are doing, how they're interacting with each other. And the focus of that is improving health for the community and seeing it from their perspective, what is important to them. the origin of the research is when I was working residency in pediatrics, and I was exposed then to healthcare in Nunavut with the Inuit. And that time there was a question as to why there was a higher rate of congenital heart malformation. So that started my career, really sort of understanding that a lot of genetics in Indigenous populations had not been explored as well as it could be. I was able to start a path towards a career really in community genetics, and especially focusing on Indigenous populations. We developed a collaborative project together where there's a continuous conversation, and we've now been doing CHR-funded research for more than 20 years in that specific area, understanding the natural history of cardiogenetics, of long QT syndrome, of what it means for children, what it means for adults. And that is a big part of the work that I do, and actually informed the development of the BC Inherited Arrhythmia Program. We could bring this across the country in a way that builds infrastructure for the diagnosis of genetic disease, which has been unfortunately left out at times. So this brings us right back to community genetics and what it means. Community genetics really means we're applying this for all, and we're understanding who may not be getting access. The Silent Genomes Project has brought a profile to the work that needs to get done. This is only one small piece of the work that needs to be done. As tough as it is, and there has been no part of this that has been easy, as tough as it has come together. It is successful. It needs to be sustainable. This is just the first piece of it.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Laura Arbour to the stage.
Thank you so much. This is such an honor. Thanks to Life Sciences BC, to Genome BC, for all of the support. I want to say thanks to Catalina. I wish she could be here for all of the work and encouragement that she gave us along the way. So I am so honored, so privileged to actually have done the work that I've done for the last 30 years. I believe that I have gained more than what I could have ever given. This has been an incredible journey. Partnership, especially with the Gitxsan population, the Gitxsan community for over 20 years, and the research at many levels that we've been able to carry out with them, and a continuous conversation that happens. Again, the Silent Genomes Project helps bring the profile to say across the country, this is what's needed, and it's gained a lot of attention, and we appreciate that. I am so grateful to the mentors that I've had. Charles Scriver is one that I would like to mention. He was probably Canada's first community geneticist, and he taught me the importance of community engagement. He taught that community engagement goes along with excellent research, and he taught that it is the PI who does the community engagement, because that's what you would normally do with your collaborators and your scientific collaborators. And so I've followed that model, which has been the right model. Here at UBC, I came here to UBC in '97. A whole lot of people there recognized that this work that was being done at McGill could continue on in BC. And I appreciated in particular Sylvie Langlois, who was my clinical head, who allowed me to do the research, not actually the clinical work in the outreach area, so I could start to develop relationships there. Jan Friedman, who's here in the audience, and not to, of course, neglect Rob McMaster, who's our Vice Dean of Research in the Faculty of Medicine, and his extremely important role in encouraging me along the way in those early grants that I was writing, investigatorships and CHR grants, and that means a lot. And so for Rob, I owe a lot of this to you. I have this card just in case I forget what to say, but I actually can't read my writing, so it's not really helpful. I have so many colleagues that are part of this work. Everybody, this has been said over and over again, that this is work that takes a village to complete. And my colleagues throughout, of course, my long QT research, all other research, have all different expertise. I wanted to also mention my colleague here, Wyeth Wasserman, who's played a hugely important role in the Silent Genomes Project. This was his vision. He was the one who made the first call. So this is really the project that he wanted to see evolve, and he's certainly doing an amazing job with it, and will continue on with it long after I'm no longer here, I believe. My students, of course, we've heard that, the importance of the students. They are the ones who teach us. And I want to tell you one personal note, one personal story. Go back to the early 1980s. I was working as a nurse. I was newly divorced. I was accompanying my mom to a medical appointment. I was in Windsor, Ontario, thinking about moving to Toronto. And we were sitting in the waiting room, and she leaned over to me and she said, "Why didn't you become a doctor?" And that's not something I would have ever thought of at that time. So I believe that this award is really to all those mothers who whisper to their daughters, this is something you can do. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Genome BC, and big congratulations to Dr. Laura Arbour. Wise words and very important work that you are doing.